Hey, my mate. Okay, so we just want to start with really important putting fundamentals because obviously we did do some work last year, a little bit with that putting and the strike. Um, but if we first want to get these fundamentals under check for the next week or two. All right, and your two big fundamentals when you're putting really are to control your speed. All right, and the way we do that is by making the shoulders drive the stroke. All right. So from there we can get a consistent tempo or rate of acceleration. All right. And then strike the putter the putts out the middle of the putter. Okay. Toe and fin and heel strikes tend to mess with your speed, and then obviously that then messes with your confidence and your ability to control where you want to roll the ball. Okay. So once we can move the putt at a consistent tempo, following the shoulders, and strike it properly, then we can figure out the read. Once we figure out the read, then we can figure out how much it's going to break. Okay, right. It'll depend on up, downhill, and how much break. Okay, so it's kind of a progression, right? But it's all based around consistent tempo length, okay, and tempo, comma, length, and centerness, consistent strike. All right, so towel draw the putter is just to use the shoulders, let the putter follow the shoulders, so just towel under the arms so that we don't use any hands and wrists, or very little. Okay, try and get a consistent grip pressure as well. All right, and then center striking, just basically use tees. So put the putter down behind the golf ball, get two tees, and put them very, very close. Okay, these are not going to go in the mat, but you get what I'm saying, right? Okay, very, very close to the heel and toe. And you can kind of do these together. Right, then we get the towel under there. And we rock the shoulders. Okay, keep the towel under there, rock the shoulders, and strike the putt out the middle of the putter. Okay, we just do quite a lot of that. Some short ones, some long ones, just all different ones. Okay, all right. So that's your warm-up. Right, then we're going to keep that putting drill for a couple of weeks and then add on to it as we go. Right, then into your swing work. So your swing warm-up is a little L to L. Okay, so quite a narrow stance. What you're trying to do, obviously keep your height, we know that. Not too much knees, everything nice. Okay, but we also try to learn to set and release the club nicely. That's also why the longer clubs are a bit harder, right? You tend to go sort of wide and then sort of sometimes set, sometimes not, sometimes release a bit early, right? So that's also getting that correct release point and snap is part of it, right? So L to L, so basically turn back, make a little L shape here, turn through, make a little L shape here, and you can hear the little brush of the ground. Yeah, not hitting down or up, just allowing the club to brush the ground. Okay, there's your little L to L. Okay, so that's your warm-ups. Right, into your swing work. Swing work is double knee flex draw. I sent you the link to the video there. Right, basically for us, it's to promote both things that we've worked on, which is obviously the active and excess knees. Okay, and then what we've been doing lately, which is swinging on a flatter, deeper plane on the downswing. Okay, so you do both of those with double knee flex. So that's why it's such a good drill for you. The double knee flex, sort of flat rounded swing. Keep these knees nice and solid. Okay, you can hit some really nice shots like that. Right, obviously this we are doing with maybe 6-iron, but 5-iron, 4-iron hybrid. Okay, that's what we're doing, maybe even 3-wood. Okay, so that's your double knee flex. And then your trajectory drill. Now, this is more to teach you, not necessarily about trajectory. It's more to teach you about where the low point is. Okay, so the low point is the point in the swing circle where it naturally bottoms out and then starts its upward journey, right? Now, if the stance width and obviously the knees and the release are a little bit inconsistent, we know all those three things are inconsistent, right? If those two are inconsistent, then your strikes are going to be inconsistent. All right, so that's where we're at. You've got to be really, really precise with the long clubs of the strike and the release point or the low point. Yeah? Okay. So that's what this is actually to teach you. Right. So the narrow, so the low shot, sort of punchy type shot, it can work when you get good at it. It can work really well at Trump on certain holes where you can sort of have a narrow stance sort of almost punchy, trappy sort of hybrid, and it can roll for miles, right? But that's not why we're doing, but as we get better at it. Okay, so fairly narrow stance, ball in the middle. Okay, obviously relative to a normal setup. Okay, and then sort of staying a little bit ahead of the ball almost. At least feel like that. Okay, and then obviously handle ahead and then a slightly downward blow. Okay, so these are just a little adjustments. Okay, so narrow stance, ball middle, hitting slightly down on it. Okay, that was very down on it, but trying to make a point. All right, so a couple of those, and then into your high one, which is now going to be ball forward wide stance. Okay, and much more of a brush release. Not an up release, just a brush. So not up on a driver release, but just a shallow sweep. Yeah, and that is your high one. Okay, so wider stance, ball forward. Okay, big high. I can see that high. I left the screen there. Okay, try and take some videos if you can. You know, a little behind, but I would say for that last drill, more side on, just to see where the body position and the release point, and the low point are. And then obviously work through stuff. And then if you can do some putting videos, that will also help. But for now, for the next couple of weeks, it's all about matching, controlling the putter with the torso, with the shoulders, and striking them out the middle. That's the two most important things. Okay, so quite a lot of work there. Knuckle down, get to it when you can. Let me know how things going, and if you have any more questions. And obviously we'll chat after you've played again, and probably next week. Okay, thank you, my mates. Let me know if you need anything else. Enjoy the rest of the week. I'll talk to you later.